everybody, and welcome back to Musings by Nikki. We are going to finish up this simple little journal today using Tracie's Notelets kit. If you didn't see the first one, you might want to go run over and see it. This how we got to this point. I am making another one of these. This is a design team project for Tracie Fox Creative, and I'm using her Notelets kits. So this is the Notelet kit number 2, and it's just kind of vintage advertisements and stuff. We've got our cover finished, and we've got 2 signatures put together. I've got a bunch of little fodder around the desk, and let's just jump right in. I thought the first thing that we would do is, like on this one, I put a bunch of different lace, and I put some full pieces, and then I made just little tabs out of lace. And I like the way that looks. You know, I like fluffy edges of things. So I thought we would do the same type of thing on here. And again, let me just say right from the jump here, pardon my sniffles and my stuffy nose and stuff. My allergies are on 100, and I have taken all the meds, and there's not much else I can do. So I apologize now. If you don't like sniffling, you might not want to watch this video because I kind of can't stop. Okay, so I thought I had one more piece of this, but it might just be AWOL. For now, whatever. It's no big deal. I pulled out a few pieces of different black fabrics and things like that that I thought we could make a variety of different tabs out of. And so let's just cut them apart. I've got this cool looking, I don't know, I guess you could call it lace. I don't even remember where I got this from, but I'm going to cut it down into maybe 6 pieces here. So we've got that, and then we've got, excuse me, this piece of lace here, and I think I'm going to just cut it into like 3, let's see, maybe 4 longer pieces. Oops. So I've got that, and then I'm going to sew on, I've just got this random piece of black fabric, so let's go ahead and use that. Ooh, this is really stringy fabric too. It's like a really loose weave. I have it in some different plaids, and I should be using my fabric scissors. Let's just do that since they're right over there at my sewing machine. Then I have this black and white ribbon, and I believe yeah, okay, so it's got, the ribbon itself has wire in it, but I pulled them out. So I'm thinking if we folded this over into tabs, I'd want them about that long. So let me cut the rest of this down into pieces that long. Oh my gosh, the mosquitoes, you guys, are out of control right now. They're like buzzing. There's 2 of them buzzing around my head right now. I'm going to cut a couple of maybe longer pieces. So okay, one of my goals with this, I think if I make a ruffle down the edge, it will be too much, because one of my goals with this is to keep it fairly simple, so we're not doing a ton of decoration, and because it's as skinny as it is, it's got this tiny little spine, and because of that, it can't take a whole lot of embellishment or it'll get super alligator-y mouth right away. So I'm trying to, you know, kind of pare down the amount. And I know I can do like tab edging, but I cannot do a whole lot of, you know, ruffle edging because that will be too much. So let's cut a few like tab shapes out of this thicker black ribbon. And then what I'm going to do, I'll talk you through kind of my process, just in case you're interested. Okay, that's good. So I got some out of all the different things that I picked here. So then what I do is I divide them up. I try to have even numbers. So I've got 2 signatures. So if I've got like 5 signatures, I'll make 5 little piles of all of my different tab material. And that is to try and evenly disperse the tabs through the different materials through the whole signature. Or through the whole book, excuse me, through all the signatures. Just because I like to have, otherwise if I just grab random, I could end up with all of these in the first signature and then not have any for the second signature. And I like continuity through both. So what I do is I divide it up and I make 2 piles because I have 2 signatures. And that way I know, okay, now I've got 3 of these. So now I have an even number of each of the different types of things. And it doesn't even matter if it's even, but I just have some of each type of tab going into each signature. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to grab out my first signature. I'm going to blow my nose. Hold on.
A few moments later.
Okay, I'm back. So I'm going to take my first signature, and then what I like to do even further, and like this, so this is my whole game plan when I'm doing tabs in a book like this to kind of disperse them evenly. I like to do, if I'm going to do one on front, then I will go to that same part of the page in the back and I'll do one up top and one on bottom, or vice versa, or some in the middle, because then I can also try to make sure that I'm distributing them evenly so that I don't end up with a ton of them on the top half of pages and then sparse down here. I just like to make it try to look as full as possible. And so part of that is just doing it this way. So I'm going to take this pile, I'm going to spread out my different types of little edging pieces and tabby pieces here. And so I will probably not put one on this front page because it's cut back further. So I will go, I think probably what I'll do is put them on the coffee stained pages as a way to kind of offset the printed ones. So I'm going to pull out this whole coffee stained page, and I know that the front page is towards the front of my signature and this is in the very back of my signature. So I will take 2 of these and I'm going to put one up top and one down low, and I'm going to sew them. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you my placement and then sew, and then come back and we'll keep rejoining. So I'll be right back. All right, so I've got tabs sewn on the bottom and the top. So when I put them into the signature, now I've got one in the back on the bottom and one on the top. So then I'm going to go to my next piece of coffee dyed paper, and I am going to go kind of in the middle. So I think of like 4 tab positions. I think of top and bottom, and then, top, middle, and bottom, middle. This is just my way of doing it in my head. So since the first one was on the top in the front part, I'm going to go to the bottom middle, and then I'll go to the bottom or the top middle here. So maybe I'll do these and sew them on, and I'll be right back. Okay, so there we go. I'll put that back into my signature and check out where we're at. All right, so now I've got, even if I just stopped here, I at least have some distribution of the tabs, right? But I'm going to keep going because, hello, I like fluffy edges. So then I'm going to just kind of keep going in that same general way until I use up all of my different pieces of tab material here. So I'm going to do that, and then I will rejoin you once I've got my signatures done with tabs. So here are my 2 signatures with all the tabs sewn in along the edges, and I feel like they're nicely dispersed. I lied. I said I wasn't going to do anything ruffle on the front, but I said I wasn't going to do anything on the front or a ruffle, but I decided it was flat enough that it still felt okay. So I decided to just do that, you know. So here we go. While I am making journals this way, I dry fit things into my cover, and I do this kind of stuff all the time. So here's how it looks. I am very pleased with the ruffly edges here. I like the way that that looks. So next step is, I think, let's create the belly bands. So we've got our stack of 5 belly band pieces that come with the kit. So I'm just going to pick 2. I like this lady's face, and this one's fine too. So we're going to use 2 of these to create the little belly bands that will hold our 2 large envelopes into the front and back here. Now this is just kind of a nod to the original kit and what that is, you know, what that was supposed to look like. So what I did is I just fold over on the edge, maybe 1/2 inch or something, and I fold it in, and I did a really bad job there of folding evenly, so I'm gonna try and refix that a little. That wasn't even a hard fold to make. Okay, so I fold that in, and what I'm gonna do is line it up just to the left of my sewing, and then I'm gonna go over and, I'm gonna bend this girl's face right in half. I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna sacrifice an edge there, and I will that's just, even though I get that this whole, you know, scheme is really choppy, I don't want to cut her face in half. So okay, now I'm going to go over, and just on the inside of that, I'm going to put a little mark with my thumbnail and bend it in there. And before I put my final crease, I'm going to look at it again, and yep, it looks good. So I will put my final crease there, and then I just need a little tab like this for gluing. So I'm just going to cut this down here. Oops. Come on, fingers. I'm going to save this because I save all my little bits and pieces. Now I'm going to glue just the little tab down. You know, before I do this, I should make sure that the envelope is going to fit inside that. Okay, yeah. I was thinking it should, just because the way Tracie's designed the kit, but always a good idea to double and triple check. Okay, so now I'm gluing that tab down, and then I'm going to put some glue on this tab. And I'm going to run that across and press it down there. And then our envelope, one of our big envelopes, should be able to slide right in there like that. So there you go. That, even though it all looks the same and you can probably barely tell where one thing starts and the next thing ends, you can trust me that that is now slidden in there. So I'm going to do the same on the back cover here. I'm going to take another belly band and repeat that same process. So here we have, can you see the belly band, and then there are the 2 envelopes stuck in there. Although because it is all just the same pattern, it's hard to see that that's what's going on. I suppose inking would help define the edges around the edges of things, but honestly, the point of this project is like something quick and easy that you can make if you want you know, a quick thank you gift or a quick birthday gift or something like that. These are just quick little things you can make out of Tracie's kits that, you know, if people know you're a journal maker, then they're like, ooh, I always want to have one of your journals. So here you go. Here's a quick and easy way to do that. I think I will put a label on these. I'm not using cheesecloth or anything like that because that will bulk this up, and we just don't have a whole lot of extra room here. I printed the labels on the back of an offcut or a wrong print or an extra print or however you want to say it. All right, and then let's do one on this one. I'm going to go with a heavier label like that again. That heavier border kind of sets it off a little. Okay. And so now what I'm going to do is I've got my fussy cut black and white flowers, and I've got those, and I've got from the black and white, oh my goodness, from the black and white florals, I've got these, and I've got these little tags. And remember, I said I just printed them on regular paper because they were going to be too. So I'm gonna grab out one of my signatures and put the others over to the side so we can work on this. I also have 4 of these mini envelopes that I need to incorporate, so I'll put 2 into the signature somewhere. And then I've got my other little fodder over here things. So let's just decorate. But I'm going to blow my nose again.
More moments later.
Okay, guys, so this one is a little too long here. Blowed my nose. Blowed it, blew it. You know what I mean. I've got this stack of little ephemera papers that I got, just random like collage-y stuff that I got out of my Your Creative Studio May box. So I thought maybe some of these could work to make us some little pockets on the fronts of things. Let me check this other stack over here. Nah, we'll stick with these. They're kind of in that same neutral, black and white neutral, you know, thing that we're going for here. So I think what I'm going to do is try to, because I want this to, you know, it's small, and so I want there to be on the pages that are this background page, and then on the tea stained papers, I am going to maybe only just put a few labels in on those to try and preserve as much writing space. But then on the ones that are the full printed, like the darker one, this would be much harder to try and, you know, do any journaling on, unless it was just memory keeping. But that's where I'm going to try and stick to as far as putting some pockets and things in. And like I said, I'm not going to do a ton of them. I'm just going to do a few, and maybe we'll do a little bit of collaging with some of the black and white florals. So let's just get down to business. I'm going to pick one of these larger pieces that's a little darker here. And I'm gonna just give it a little tear. And yeah, there we go. This is what we are going to do. I am just going to go through and do a little bit of, I'm going to go through probably both signatures here and put some flowers in. So when I'm doing a smaller journal like this, when I'm doing a smaller journal like this that's not very heavily embellished or anything, usually I will kind of, in order to provide some continuity through the entire piece, I will pick an element like this, and then I will go through both journals and make sure that I have like at least, you know, 3 or 4 pages that kind of look like this through the signatures, so there's again some continuity. If this is like a drinking game, every time Nikki says continuity, take a drink of your coffee. I am not much of a drinker, but boy, I could get caffeine crunked on drinking games with caffeine. Okay, so now I am going to flip the whole signature over, right, from that page, because I know that the back side of that is also going to be that same folder print. And so we will decide to do kind of the same thing. Maybe I'll layer a couple pages, a couple pieces here. Let's see, I want to go with one that's a little darker though, but not exactly the same because that would be weird. Yeah. This is nice paper because it's not like white core, so when you tear it, it actually looks like craft paper, which is really great for collage. We'll cover up this like Lady Liberty there and put another one of our florals in there maybe. Yeah, so okay, I'm gonna glue these down. I'm gonna just keep working. I'll just fast forward. I'm gonna keep working in this manner, and I will just let you, I'll put on some lovely music and let you kind of see my process as I do through this, and then I will rejoinder you in a second. Okay, hello, we're back again, and now it is the next day again.
The next morning.
This is like the longest video that I've ever filmed that is gonna be an under an hour video, but somehow it's taking me days and days. I had to go wash my daughter's hair since she chopped her finger up with the blender and do some other things, and now I am back again. And my allergies just got the best of me last night. They're still, you know, gross, but it's a little better this morning. So I did manage to get both of my signatures decorated, you know, collaged up a little bit. And so I've got those done, and we've got our cover here. So really, there's not a ton left to be done. We need to figure something out for the cover, and then it's time to sew the signatures in, which is, you know, pretty easy to do. Oh, I think I'll use this as the closure. Yeah, I really don't remember where this came from. I think this was maybe one of those things that was given to me in one of my mystery boxes of stuff from Dorothy. So I think I will cut a piece of this off, and we'll use that to tie. I'm going to just cut a pretty edge there. And that should be enough to tie. And then I think what I was thinking was, I pulled out all this other stuff thinking, you know, I'd use it because it was black and white, but honestly, we haven't used much of it because it was, you know, I can't bulk this up. It's already a little alligator-y mouth, and once I sew signatures in, that'll probably be like that. So maybe one of these, maybe some papers, because I think if we put the lady straight on there, that's like too much. It's too busy. But I wonder if we provide a background that's maybe a little bit different color than the paper in the background and them. That's not bad. What do you guys think? You know what? I have one flower left that I didn't use. I wonder if maybe we move them. Well, that's kind of fun. I like that. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these out, and let's do this cover. To sew. So it's time to sew. These are just going to be bound in here with a three hole pamphlet stitch, and I'm just going to clean up a little bit here as I'm doing this. I've got this scrap of paper that looks like it is just about the right size, so let us fold that in half, and we'll use that to make our little punching template. Normally, if this was just a single signature, I would not make a punching template, but because I have to do two and I like some amount of consistency, we will do it this way. So I need to, first, I think this is exactly the length of my book, is it? Yeah, exactly, which is awesome. So I am going to just measure quickly here. We're at like 6.5. So, hold on a second. Yeah?
Oh, sorry. I'm going to Bemidji.
Okay.
So I can deposit all this.
Okay. There was something I was thinking if you went I needed, so if I think of it, I'll text you.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. All right, they're off to the store. 6 1/4. So the center of that is going to be, I'm not doing heavy duty math on this. So we're going to call 3 1/4 the center. I know it's not exactly the center, but we're going to call it. And then the pages, my signatures are 6. So I don't want to go 6 1/4. I don't want to punch any lower than that. And I want to make sure that there's plenty of room on the bottom so that I'm not punching through the like absolute end down here. I want to make sure I punch up a little bit, and that'll catch all of the size pages and stuff. So I'm going to go a full inch up from the bottom. So from 6 1/4, that would be up to 5 1/4. And then that would be just down to 1. So I've got then I'm just going to carry those marks across, which you may or may not be able to see. Probably not. Nope, doesn't look like it. On here. And then I'm going to take these envelopes out while I punch this, just because I don't want them sliding around and stuff. And then my spine on this ends up being, okay, so where the actual lines are is just about a 1/2 inch. So I want to, what I'm going to do is just eyeball it and try to make it as straight up and down against the line, Tracie's line there. I'm going to eyeball it, make sure my bottom and top are lined up, and put my markings. And actually, I think I'm going to use a felt tip pen because this black and white is so, I won't be able to see it otherwise. Yeah, those I can see. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to see it because this black and white, the pencil would just be lost. I'm going to do the same thing this way then. All right, what I forgot to do, guys, is I turned it around, and since I didn't go directly to the middle here, I ended up with 2 different punches, which would have negated the fact that I wasn't just eyeballing all of this. So I am going to go grab my binding supplies, and I'll be right back. There we go. Binding supplies. I got some black floss. So now I'm just going to take my awl and I'm going to pre-punch these holes. Which is not difficult at all, given I forgot to put the book tape through, which is fine. Okay. So those are punched. Then I am going to take my signature here and my punching template, which, since it is slightly a 1/4 inch larger than my book or than my signature, I'm just eyeballing again to make sure that it's about the same distance over the top, hanging over the top and bottom. Making sure that where I wrote top is actually on the top. And then I will go ahead and I'm just going to put a couple clips on this. This signature is easy because it is not full of all kinds of extra stuff. So I'm just going to punch my holes here. Try not to punch my finger. We don't need another run to the ER today, to the clinic. They would probably really start questioning. My husband would have to limp in, and my daughter that just got her fingers all glued up yesterday would be there. It'd be a whole fun thing. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I think, this is what I did before, is I'm just going to put binder clips on here to hold my signature together. And normally I would, in a single signature, I would clip them to this cover, but just because I'm doing two, I am going to, two signatures, I'm going to not do that because it'd be too difficult. Pardon my rambling. All right, now I need my, have to move my glasses up on my head because, guys, I think I need bifocals. There we go. Alrighty. Now I'm going to make sure this is my top. That's my top. And I want my strings on the inside, so I'm going to go in from the inside out. And I'm leaving long tails because I probably will tie some beads or something on. And in through the, pardon me if you want a more in-depth tutorial on binding books, there are tons of them out there. I have a couple on my channel as well, showing you how I do this. But essentially, it's a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I usually do a 5, but this book is so small, there's really no need for that many holes. So it's essentially going, you know, down, then up through the end, then back down through the middle, which is what I am attempting to do right now. And then the biggest trick is not splitting your thread, because if you sew through your thread, then you can't really tighten it at the end. That's the hardest part. Up through that hole, and up through this hole. And boy, I made these strings nice and long. I always overestimate, but I would rather have more than not enough for sure. Okay, so I just slipped my end underneath this side. That gives me some tensioning space. And then I just give it a tug and I flip it over, and I always go like this. And if those are tight, then I know I'm good to tighten this up with a knot. And I pull those nice and taut, because it is such a bummer to do all of this work, you know, decorate your signatures, sew tabs on, cut out papers, I mean, do all the things, and then not bind it tight enough. And if you've got wobbly signatures, then your book is kind of, you know, it talks louder than any work that you've done into the pages and everything, if they're all loosey-goosey, but this is in there tight. So binding your book, while I find it to be one of the more odious parts of bookmaking, I definitely say it is well worth taking your time to make sure that you have done it right. And then I always go through and just make sure that nothing is, like, sometimes, you know, fabric flips or something get stuck in there if I'm not paying attention. And that's a bummer if you sew pieces into your binding that you did not intend to sew in. I've got these nice long tails here, so I can tie things to them. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through me binding this next one in there, much exactly the same I just did. So you guys, I just bound this in upside down. Let me show you what cued me off to that. You'll notice how this book signature ends right where it should, and this one hangs off the bottom. Same thing going on at the top, the disparity. So you know what that means? I am usually really good about doing this, but I did not. So I need to cut this binding out and start over. That is much better. That is how it's supposed to look. They're in the right direction. Flowers going in that direction here and there, and the pockets won't all be upside down. Oh my goodness. So I am just going through to make sure the pages are all good. I like to fold them down and make sure that they all flip nice. And they do, so we're good. I'm going to put these back in. We've got our long tails down here. It's not super alligatory mouth. I'm actually impressed I did okay. I'm going to put my needle away before I lose that. And I'm going to put in a maker's mark. I usually keep several of these already made up, and I have thought long and hard multiple times about, you know, printing out my little logo and making that into some stickers that I could just easily put in, or having a stamp made, but honestly I kind of just like doing it this way. These are my maker's mark, and I just take scraps of paper, whatever I have scraps out of my bin, and I literally stamp them out and then sign them, and each one of them is different and unique, and just like my journals are, and I kind of just like it that way. So this is how I like to do my maker's mark. If you make journals, I highly suggest putting your maker's mark in there some way, and it's not about like, hey, look at me and the cool things I do or something. It's whether you give them as gifts or sell them in an Etsy shop or at sales or whatever, it's just kind of a way of saying this is handmade by somebody. It's like a recognition of the fact that this wasn't, you know, it's like a copyright kind of. It's like this wasn't just mass produced in a store somewhere or in some foreign country. Like, this was handmade. So I'm going to, here, let's see, this will look cute on there. Yeah, but I'm not going to put it on. I'm going to grab a few beads. I did grab out this little owl charm because I love owls. So I think owl charm is going to get tied on here, and then I'm going to grab out some little beads and tie off some beads on my strings. I'll be right I just tied on my little owl charm. Now I'm going to show you just a really quick trick here. I thought I'd pop in. I think I've shown it in a previous video, but when I want to tie beads on, I don't want them riding up into the journal. I want them to stay, you know, at or below the bottom of my journal. So in order to place the knot perfectly where I want it, I take my binding needle and I just tie just the very basic beginning of a, when you're going to tie a bow or your knot or something. And I tighten it up around my needle, but then I can slide it up the needle to exactly where I want it. Pull the needle out and tighten it. And it's perfect. It's such a great little trick. And then I'm going to cut the end of my, let me use my fabric scissors. I'm going to cut the end of my linen thread into a little point here, because I've got these seed beads that I got like on super clearance a while ago at Hobby Lobby, but some of them are pretty finicky and don't like to fit over the ends of my waxed linen. So if I cut a little point, it's almost like threading them onto a needle or something. I think I'll probably put like 5 or 6 on each one. And these are just glass seed beads that I got, like I said, on super clearance. And all right, and then to make sure that I get my second knot snug up against there, I will use the same technique. I put my needle through, tie the knot way down here. I can tie it way down here, but then I can slide it up right underneath there, and that way it gets right up underneath that bead, so it's going to keep it right in place. All right, so there we go. I'm going to do the next two just the same way, and I'll be right back. There we go, guys. We've got some cute little beads coming off the bottom. We've got our cute little bow tied on, and we have now finished a second journal out of the Notelets set from Tracie Fox. Two very different looking journals because they are two very different sets. One of them being these lovely like cotton watercolor painterly butterflies and florals, and one being this vintage look. Two very different things, right? You could definitely this makes up into a more feminine looking journal, obviously. You could definitely easily make this into, if you wanted to give something to a guy and you wanted it to be not so florally or something, you could certainly turn this into that without, putting the ladies on the front. You could put this guy on there instead. But anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this. Now that it's, like I said, it's graduation season, so I needed lots of quick little thank you gifts and things. If you guys have graduates in your life and you want to give something very personalized, this works up really great. Even working these up into just their original intention of being note cards and envelopes would also be a great option to give as a gift, because if you're a graduate, you are hopefully sending out thank you cards to a lot of people. So anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, all of the kits that I have used in both of these will be listed down below. They all come from Tracie Fox Creative. You can go check out her shop, and she's just put a few new kits in recently. There's a gorgeous bee kit, and I have yet to make a bee journal, but I've been storing up things for a bee journal for such a time as this. So that'll be coming up some point in the future. But first, onward and upward. Next, we're moving on to the ocean journal. Multiples of them, and it's going to be a big project. But anyway, that'll be in the next couple days here. So I hope you guys had a great morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, whatever time it is, on whatever side of this fantastic planet of ours that you happen to reside on. And until I see you guys next time, take care and stay safe, and God bless you. Bye, guys.